I'm Paul Ploener, Football Insider, and you can catch my videos on many Facebook pages, football Facebook pages and websites. And I've got an analysis of a game for you. As a Syracuse alumni, it's definitely a bias, but we're going to do the Syracuse Orangemen versus the number 22 NC State Wolfpack. And this game will be at the Carrier Dome at Syracuse University, and Syracuse is 4-0 at home. They've got the dome field advantage. And we're going to break down the Syracuse team, and then we'll go to the Wolfpack team and some keys to the game and who I think can win this game. First of all, Syracuse offense is getting 42.5 points per game, 212 yards rushing per game, and 261 passing yards per game. And of course, their players highlighted by quarterback number 2, Eric Dungy, has been the starter most of the season with a 59% completion rate, 10 TDs, 4 interceptions, and 130.2 quarterback rating. And he's the number 1 rusher on the team by a few yards, 477 yards rushing. And but he was replaced by Tommy DeVito in the UNC game because he really wasn't doing the job. And Tommy DeVito came in and won that game very heroically. And also, we're going to talk about number 13, Tommy DeVito. He came in the Florida State game as well and relieved Eric Dungy after he left with an injury. And Syracuse was only up 6-0 at the half, but he led the team to a 30-7 victory against the Florida State Seminoles. And I think he should be the starter this week against NC State. If Syracuse wants to win, I know there's always this thing, senior versus a freshman. But if the freshman's a better player, he needs to play. And I think Tommy DeVito has shown that he's a better pocket passer. He's got better timing. He gets the ball out quicker. And I think Dungy's problem is he likes to run the football, and really the quarterback should be a passer first and a runner second. But I don't think Tommy DeVito's doing that. I don't think he's got the timing. I don't think he has the patience to go through his check downs and go through all his options in the passing game. And he's not doing the job when they need him in crunch time. When you need someone to be an accurate passer at the end of the game, you need some big yards in the passing game. Tommy DeVito is a better player. Of course, on the defense, you gotta love their defensive line, and these guys have got to get into the backfield and pressure the quarterback for NC State Finley. And that's number 55, Kendall Coleman, 6'3", 260 pounds. He's got 7 sacks. And also number 94, Alton Robinson, 6'4", 249 pounds, and 6 sacks. And between the two of them, they got 13 sacks. And they need to get a couple of sacks against Finley this week. They got to disrupt the passing game of NC State. And of course, their much-maligned linebacker core. I've seen that on a lot of the sites that they criticize the linebacker play for Syracuse, but I certainly think that linebacker number 41 senior Ryan Guthrie, 49 tackles, has been a very stout player and has done a great job as a linebacker. But their defensive backs are going to be tested this week. As number 3 cornerback Christopher Frederick, I need to point him out. He's got 2 interceptions, 30 tackles, and he's going to have to get some interceptions this weekend, 1 or 2 against Finley, to keep North Carolina State from scoring too much. Obviously, then strong safety Evan Foster, number 14. He's really good, 47 tackles and 1 interception. So this defense we've got to definitely step it up this week. Last game against UNC, they let UNC get back in the game. 3 unanswered scores late in the game, in the third and fourth quarters. They let them really take a lead and score 3 times unanswered. One of them obviously was a punt return, but they've got to tighten up, and they've got to work hard at shutting down the NC State passing game. I normally don't talk about kickers and punters, but really Syracuse has an outstanding punter, Sterling Hoffricker, and I think last week that punt return for a touchdown was partly his fault because he kicked it too far. It outkicked his coverage, so really needs to work on his hang time and not so much the distance. Andre Smith, who's a place kicker, he kind of walked onto the program, but 18 for 20 from field goals, and you're going to need some field goals against NC State to make a difference. NC State is certainly is a good team. I just want to go over the defensive stats for Syracuse. 236 yards passing, 214 yards rushing allowed per game, and they really need to step it up this week against NC State. Let's talk about NC State. Their offense is very potent, but it's very pass-oriented, 300 yards plus passing per game and only 138 yards rushing per game. So if we can shut down the passing game and force them to rush the football, I think Syracuse can keep the score down. Ryan Finley, number 15, he's an excellent quarterback, a 68% completion rate. He's got 10 TDs and 5 INTs. He does not run at all. His running statistics are very minimal. He's a pure pocket passer. And number 25, their top rusher, is very talented, Reggie Gillespie, and he's certainly dangerous in the red zone. But he gets about 3.9 yards per carry. He's not a fast running back, but he's big and strong, and he's good in the short rushing situations when they got third and short, or they're at the first and goal, or in the goal-to-go situations. He's the guy they go to. Running back number 20, Ricky Persons, 5 yards per carry, and then obviously they're a talented team in the passing game. So they're 2 wide receivers. Number 11, Jacoby Myers, 38 receptions, 1 TD, and wide receiver number 3, Kelvin Harmon. He's got 35 receptions and 2 TDs. And I would say that, emphasize again that NC State, the Wolfpack, they are one-dimensional in offense. They're a pass-first offense, and the key for Syracuse is to limit the passing game, shut down that passing game, and really concentrate on that. Their defense is pretty good, 258 yards passing allowed per game and 104 yards rushing per game. Their top 3 players, linebacker number 3, Jermaine Pratt, 57 tackles and 3 sacks. And number 4, cornerback Nick McLeod, 37 tackles, 1 interception, and 5 pass deflections. I don't usually talk about that stat, but it's unusual to see a player with 5 pass deflections. So we've got to keep him, and that basically telling me also that they do a lot of blitzing with this cornerback. They're going to try to send him in to disrupt the passing game of Syracuse and try to deflect some passes. And of course, number 31, he's a safety, Jarvis Moorhead, 33 tackles and 1 interception. So Syracuse has got to get got to shut down their passing game, obviously. But Syracuse on offense has to run the football to set up the play-action pass, and that I think is important against this defense. So obviously, what you're going to look at on the Syracuse offense versus the NC State defense is how well Syracuse runs the football. They're going to need to run the football first to set up the play-action pass and protect Tommy DeVito against their stout defense. Their stats on turnovers, NC State have 4 interceptions and 5 fumbles so far this year. Not outstanding, but certainly Syracuse needs to protect the football in this game. It's going to be a close, hard-fought game, and I like to also point out the common opponent. I think that's key. Number 2, Clemson versus Tigers versus Syracuse. Syracuse could have won that game, then they lost by 4 points, 27-23, where NC State lost to Clemson 41-7. I think common opponents are very important, and that's why a lot of people probably last week didn't see that the UNC-Syracuse game was going to be close. I thought it would be close because UNC, their only win this year was against Pittsburgh, and then obviously Syracuse lost that tough overtime game against Pittsburgh. And when you talk about matchups and common opponents, it's very important, a predictor and factor in looking at how the game is going to go. So Syracuse has got the edge this week. I believe they're a 1-point favorite. They have an edge based on their performance against common opponents. If you look at the strength of schedule, if you look at all the teams that NC State has beaten, none of them are ranked teams. The one ranked team they could have played this year was canceled because of the Hurricane Florence situation. They could have played West Virginia. I wish they had played West Virginia. They would have probably had a better feel for what kind of team they really are. But I really think that they are not the second best team in the ACC. A lot of people think they may be. I still think probably it's Miami. This is the second best team, or Virginia Tech. And I think NC State is probably not even as good as Syracuse. That's why I believe Syracuse is going to win this game. They've got the home field advantage in the Carrier Dome. But I think the one key thing is, and I hope Coach Babers that makes this tough decision is to start Tommy DeVito in as quarterback, and also feature your running backs in the running game, and don't worry about running the quarterback. Now, Eric Dungy can come in, I guess, certain situations, maybe in the red zone if they need the quarterback to run the ball, but Tommy DeVito showed that he could run the football on goal-to-goal situations and scoring those 2 running touchdowns against Florida State. So I'm gonna believe that Syracuse is going to win this game. It's going to be either something like 30 to maybe 21. Syracuse will win 30 to 21 against the Wolfpack, but it's really going to be a key on who starts. Now, if Eric Dungy starts, it may go into overtime again against NC State, and you might see Syracuse winning by 1 score in overtime. But hopefully, Tommy DeVito will start, and I hope he starts, and I hope Coach Babers makes the decision, because you got to play the players that are going to win the game for you. Another freshman, obviously, I'd like to see get the ball more, is number 28, and that's Javian Howard. He is a freshman also, and I don't think he's gotten as much playing time as he could or should have. So we'd like to say go Orange, and watch us and comment on our video and let us know what you think of our analysis today. You can go and comment if you've seen this on Facebook or YouTube. We'd like you to comment on this video and tell us what you think, and obviously we can analyze after the game and see if anything I said was right, but I have been correct. I did call, if you look at my videos, the Clemson-Syracuse game. I really believe Syracuse could make the game close and had a chance to win. They did have a chance to win the game, but just basically Syracuse had problems with the running game against Clemson. So, but look at this video, and obviously we can talk about it, and you can let me know. You can look me up on Twitter at Ploener Paul on Twitter, and I'm on Facebook. And you can look me up, and we'd love to have your feedback on our videos today. Thank you.